Manhattan, December 4, 2024. Outside a bustling midtown hotel, a powerful CEO pauses to check his watch. He's moments away from delivering a career-defining speech. But in the blink of an eye, everything changes. A gunshot cuts through the night. By the time the chaos subsides, one of America's most influential figures lies dead. The man accused of pulling the trigger. Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old Ivy League graduate with no criminal record, a privileged upbringing, and a chilling plan. What led this young engineer to target Unitedhealthcare's CEO, Brian Thompson? The truth may change the way you see justice, and the healthcare system, forever. Brian Thompson wasn't just a CEO, he was the embodiment of corporate success. As the leader of Unitedhealthcare, he wielded immense influence over an industry that impacts millions of lives every day. On December 4, 2024, his life ended suddenly and violently on the streets of Manhattan, leaving a void in the healthcare world and a mystery that stunned the nation. The alleged killer? Luigi Mangione. At 26 years old, he was a young man from a prominent Baltimore family. An Ivy League graduate with degrees in engineering and computer science, Mangione was once celebrated for his intellect and potential. But behind the polished image was a man harboring deep anger and resentment. How does a promising career end with an arrest for murder? What pushed Luigi Mangione to target Brian Thompson in such a calculated and brutal way? And what does this case reveal about the cracks in society and the healthcare system? Before we uncover the answers to these chilling questions, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. This is just one of the many cases we explore that delve deep into the events shaping headlines, and the hidden stories behind them. Don't miss a single update. December 4, 2024. Midtown Manhattan bustles as it always does, a city alive with movement and ambition. At the New York Hilton Midtown, Brian Thompson steps out into the evening chill, his mind likely focused on the investor meeting awaiting him, a critical event in his career as the CEO of Unitedhealthcare. But as he crosses the sidewalk, a single gunshot rings out. The crowd freezes in stunned silence, then erupts into chaos. Thompson collapses to the ground, blood pooling beneath him. Within moments, first responders arrive, but it's already too late. Brian Thompson is dead. The brutal, public nature of the attack sends shockwaves across the city and beyond. A CEO, gunned down on the streets of Manhattan, this is not a random act of violence. This is targeted. So who is Luigi Mangione? At first glance, his story doesn't align with the profile of a killer. Born into a wealthy and influential family in Baltimore, Mangione's life was filled with privilege and opportunity. At just 26, he had already achieved what many would consider success. An Ivy League education, dual degrees in engineering, and a promising career as a data engineer. But beneath the surface, there was a darker narrative unfolding. Mangione had been battling chronic back pain for years, a struggle that led him to confront the flaws of the healthcare system firsthand. He underwent spinal surgery, fought through layers of insurance bureaucracy, and, over time, developed a deep resentment toward the very industry his family was connected to. His anger wasn't just personal, it was ideological. In his online writings and a notebook later recovered by police, Mangione described corporations like Unitedhealthcare as parasitic, accusing them of exploiting vulnerable people for profit. It wasn't just anger, it was obsession. What transformed this anger into action? Investigators believe that Mangione saw Brian Thompson as a symbol of everything wrong with the system he despised. Thompson wasn't just a person, he was the face of a perceived enemy. The investigation into Brian Thompson's murder moved quickly. Surveillance footage from outside the New York Hilton Midtown captured a figure matching Mangione's description near the scene. Witnesses reported seeing a man fleeing moments after the gunshot. 5 days later, Luigi Mangione was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The arrest itself was unremarkable, but what authorities found with him was anything but. Inside his belongings was a detailed notebook, its pages filled with plans for targeting a high-profile CEO. The descriptions matched the crime scene exactly. Alongside the notebook were tools of preparation, a 3D printed ghost gun, suppressors, and multiple fake IDs. Fingerprint analysis confirmed Mangione's presence at the crime scene. The weapon recovered during his arrest matched ballistics evidence from the fatal shot. Investigators now had a clear picture of a man who didn't just act on impulse. This was a calculated, premeditated crime. But perhaps the most chilling detail? In his writings, Mangione expressed a sense of righteousness. He described his actions not as murder, but as justice against a system he believed was irreparably broken. But the more investigators uncovered, the more questions arose. What else was Mangione planning? And how far would he have gone to make his message heard? The scene outside the New York Hilton Midtown was one of chaos and tragedy. Yellow police tape swayed in the cold December wind, cordoning off an area that now bore the stains of a life lost too soon. A pool of blood marked the spot where Brian Thompson, one of the most powerful figures in healthcare, took his last breath. The bustling streets of Manhattan, usually filled with the hum of activity, fell eerily silent as news of the murder spread. Onlookers stood frozen, their faces etched with disbelief, while investigators began piecing together the events of the night. But as investigators delved deeper, their focus turned to the suspect, Luigi Mangione. Among his possessions was a notebook, one that painted a chilling picture of his thoughts leading up to the crime. Page after page, Mangione outlined his frustrations with the healthcare system, blaming corporate greed for the suffering of millions. In one especially haunting passage, Mangione wrote, "The system needs a wake-up call, and I'll be the one to deliver it." These words, scrawled in black ink, revealed a mind fixated not just on change, but on destruction. What drives someone to commit such a calculated act of violence? Luigi Mangione's writings suggest a man consumed by anger and frustration, his words pointing to signs of narcissism and a belief in his own moral crusade. But was this purely ideological? Or was it the result of a personal unraveling? Imagine battling chronic pain every day, navigating a healthcare system you believe is broken, and feeling powerless, until you convince yourself that only you can deliver justice. Could you have snapped under the same pressure? Let us know in the comments, what do you think really pushed Mangione to this breaking point? Was it ideology, desperation, or something else entirely? As Luigi Mangione awaits trial, his case has already ignited fierce debate. Supporters claim his actions were a desperate protest against a healthcare system they too see as broken. Incredibly, some have even donated to his defense fund, framing him as a misguided activist rather than a cold-blooded killer. But the story takes a stranger turn. Investigators uncovered Mangione's online activity, which includes bizarre references to the number 286 and cryptic posts about the board game Monopoly. On his social media, Mangione shared an image of the Pokémon Breloom, number 286 in the Pokédex. Coincidence? Or was he signaling something deeper? This so-called 286 conspiracy theory has sparked rampant speculation online. Some believe the number holds a personal significance for Mangione, while others argue it points to a larger plan, or perhaps a mind unraveling under the weight of its own delusions. What do you think? Was this an intricate code, a cry for help, or simply the fragmented thoughts of a troubled individual? The answers may lie in the trial ahead. In the end, this is a story of two lives shattered. Brian Thompson, an influential leader whose life was cut short in an instant, leaving his family and colleagues grappling with an unimaginable loss. And Luigi Mangione, a young man whose brilliant potential now lies buried beneath a single, irreversible act. But the questions don't end here. Could this tragedy have been prevented? Were there warning signs that went unnoticed? And for Brian Thompson's family, will any outcome truly feel like justice? Luigi Mangione's trial is set to begin next year, promising to unravel even more about the man behind the act and the motivations that led to this shocking event. All eyes will be on the courtroom to see if the very system he despised will now hold him accountable. What do you think? Was this a calculated message, a desperate cry for change, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts below, and stay tuned as this case unfolds. If this story left you as shocked and intrigued as it did us, make sure to show your support. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss our deep dives into the most gripping true crime cases. And now, we want to hear from you. Was this a case of justified anger turned deadly, or something far more complex? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.